I'm gonna make this kimono dress out of this beautiful red fabric in less than 30 minutes. Grab the pattern, it's in the description, come along and let's make a beautiful kimono dress out of your favorite fabric. I've got this dress here, this is the example, and this I made in a previous video showing you how to use the pattern. This is made out of black satin. It's like Duchess weight satin. It's very luxurious, very thick black satin, and it's absolutely gorgeous. What I wanted to do today is make something out of cotton, but not just regular cotton. I wanted to use this, I'm gonna bring it right up. Cotton plisse it's called. So like a lot of fabrics, the name comes from the French. Plisse means crinkled or puckered. It looks like tiny little pleats, and what it has is a lot of give. So this is technically a non-stretch fabric. There's no spandex, there's no lycra, there's nothing in this to give it a stretch in the actual yarn, but it's the way it's been woven that gives it a lot more movement. Look at that. There. How it's made is the fabric is woven, has two different types of yarn, and they shrink one of them once the fabric has been woven, which means that some of the yarns are pulling in and other yarns are pulling out, so you get this stretched and it always comes back. So if I stretch that like that, it almost goes straight, but you see it always comes back to that pleated or plissé appearance. It's really cool. It's really comfortable. It's a fantastic fabric to make a summer dress from, especially because the air gets through it and it has more coverage than just flat cotton. So it's a really exciting texture. It's a really exciting fabric to use. Now, using cotton plissé can be a bit tricky because when you press it, you press all the creases out and then a second later they all come back. So you're constantly working with the fabric to get it to do what you want. But this is a really simple pattern and it's so easy. So it will go up really well with this kind of fabric and it's gonna look fantastic. Also, you don't have to have as much because of the movement of the fabric. It will cover more than what you have. So when the fabric is held just like this and all the little pleats are in there, it's 90 centimeters wide, but it actually is 120 centimeters wide when it's stretched. And so in wear, it's about halfway between that. It's about 110 centimeters. So I'm gonna use this. It will make about between a small and a medium from the pattern. And if I wanted to make a bigger one, I could just cut off an extra strip of this, if I bought some extra, and put it in the back to put a different strip or put it down the side. But I'll show you how I make it out of this size fabric. So we've got 2 meters exactly, and it's about 110 centimeters in width. So that's 2.2 yards or 43 inches in width. First thing you do is you press the whole bit of fabric with the selvages running along together. So this is basically, get the yardage and fold it in half like that. So your selvages are meeting, and then fold that in half again. So you've folded something into 4. You've got a top corner there with 2 folds emanating from it. You've got 2 loops here where the folds come over, and then at the other end, you have the 4 separate corners like that. Get your fabric into that position, and then we can start to mark and cut. So here we are. The fabric is folded into 4. I've got the top corner over here with the little point. That is the neck up here. I've got the 2 loops or the 2 folds that emanate from that top corner. They are your sleeves. So that's where your hand will come out. They're the cuffs up here. Then I'm going to find the sleeves and the side seams. So the sleeves come down here like a kimono with long, gracious sleeves like this. And then we have a side seam down the back. It's really very simple and it only takes a few measurements. They're all included in the pattern, so grab that down below. There's also a printable template for the neckline up here, but I'll show you how you can do that really easily without even having to use it. First thing I'll do is the neckline. I come down 2 inches or 5 centimeters from the top down this long side here. And I mark that in on this back fold. So this is the center back, but there's no seam there or anything. And then along the top here, so from the neck heading towards the cuffs, I come along 4 inches or 10 centimeters. Because this fabric has a natural stretch to it, I've come in 1 inch less for the neckline. Instead of being 12.5 centimeters or 5 inches, it's 4 inches or 10 centimeters. I've taken a little bit off the neckline just to deal with the natural stretch in the fabric. So you've got these 2 points, and what you need to do is join them up with a bit of a curve. So you start straight on one side, and then you come down to make a half moon curve around the neck there. As I said, you can do this using the template in the pattern, which is in the link below. It prints out on a piece of A4 paper, and you can sit it on top of there and use it like that. Otherwise, you're just penning it in. It's not the hardest thing to do. It's just a little half moon shape that straightens out as you come to the center back. Next, I need to create the sleeves. Come down from the top bit here where we said that the cuffs are, and come down 50 centimeters or 20 inches. I'll mark that in, and then I'll show you what that does. So it makes a really beautiful wide sleeve. You see this in garment construction. This is a technical kimono sleeve because it's attached to the body. A Japanese kimono sleeve like this that's on my yukata I've got right now, that's attached to the body with a seam here, and it hangs free at the side seam. A technical kimono sleeve in garment construction just means that there's no seam between the sleeve and the body, and it's all one big piece. And that's what makes this pattern so easy. But it also creates this beautiful, so you can see it's as long as the sleeve on my yukata as well. And it makes really beautiful, big, gracious sleeves like that. And they hang down, and even when your arm's up, you can see it's all hanging down like this. Absolutely fantastic. So I came down 50 centimeters or 20 inches. Next thing I need to do is find the side seam. So I come in from the side here, and I'm trying to find where I'm going to line up there. And we come in by 30 centimeters or 12 inches. But of course you can make this longer. So what we're creating is this shape here. On the dress, we're creating this shape here that comes in to make the dress T-shaped like that. We're creating that. So you can make this as long and as short as you want. You could have it out to here and just have tiny little sort of cuffs that hang down, or you can make it really long so they come all the way down to your wrists. It also depends on how much fabric you have and what this measurement around here is. So in the pattern, I've got a whole breakdown of how you make the right measurement for your size and how you can measure yourself to find that out. And the other thing about this dress is the gathering. The beauty of the dress is that it blouses. Blousing is this. It's where you have it gathered underneath and then it falls over top and makes these beautiful shapes around the waist. This makes the waist appear smaller, and it makes the whole person have this beautiful mid-century line when they're wearing the dress. To create that, you need extra fabric around you. So you need to have what's called ease, but a lot of it, so then we can gather it up and create these beautiful drapes that fall down, plus this bloused waistline around here. That's used by making this rope as well. But what you need to do is have about 8 inches or 20 centimeters more around your waist. So it's a lot of ease that you're trying to create around here. And the more you have, the more blousing you have and the more gathers you have around the skirt. So as much as you want to put in, you can. And also you can add extra strips of fabric to create more ease if you need it. So if you have your fabric and it's not big enough, you can always add a contrast in on one side or something like that. There's amazing things you can do with this pattern. But the best place to start is to add at least 20 centimeters or 8 inches for the ease, so you can create that beautiful drape from this left leg down here. Coming in by 30 centimeters or 12 inches. And that's from this mark on the sleeve. So you want to try and get it accurate. So once you've measured in 12 inches or 30 centimeters, come down from the top and check that it matches up with that 50 centimeters or 20 inches and get across there. You're just sort of squaring it, that's all you're doing. And then come down, make a couple of marks down the garment here. This is your side seam. So what we're trying to find is this rectangle here, which we'll cut out to make the T-shaped dress. If you find that it's not big enough around your hips, you can also cut this with a circular shape by coming out on a diagonal, because we have a lot of extra fabric that we can use here. Of course, by doing this, it means that your fabric is off grain, so it will move slightly differently on these seams, but it's like making a circle skirt just from here. And in order to do that, you would find the length from this point in the center here, from this underarm corner. You'd find the length down to the hem on the straight, and then you would take that length and you would pace it out around here to make the corner. And then, like we did with the neckline, you join that up with a curve and you cut off that little curve bit. That's going to make you a flared dress, so it will come out more from the hips like that. If you have larger hips, this is great because the skirt will fall out and down and still have that gathering effect at the waist there as well. But for the purpose of this one, I'm going to do it straight, in and down. There's the pattern cut. From one of these rectangles that we've cut down here from the T shape, you make your cords, your belts, and you can use all four of them to do so, or you can just use one and make a nice thin one. This one I used just one and made it from the exact same fabric. You can also use a completely different fabric, or maybe some cording, passementerie, something like that. There's a lot of different options you can go for. But the easiest way, grab one of these and cut it into three, and you make your cords out of that. Just before you sew, you need to mark in your belt loops. So they are 4 inches. You mark 4 inches down from this corner here in the T shape, so under the arm. Mark 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and then mark another 4 inches or 10 centimeters from there. Make sure that's on every layer of the fabric, because you never know which part you're going to use unless you have one-sided fabric. So we know where this is on all 4 layers, and it helps line up the whole pattern as well. This will help us find where to put the belt loops. The belt loops go in that second 4 inch or 10 centimeter mark. So not right up until this corner, but just on the next part down. That's how this lifts up and creates this blousing effect around the waist. It's a really clever dress. Take one of the extra rectangles that you have left over, cut it into thirds. Take one of those thirds and cut off 10 centimeters or 4 inches. And cut that in half lengthways. Let's go make a belt and some loops. Your 2 belt loops should look like this. 2 lovely little strips of fabric. Fold that in half and sew a 1/4 inch or 5 mil seam allowance down one side, and then we'll turn them out. Like that. Then you want to join your cord together. Get all 3 sections and join them together with the shorter one in the middle. That way they'll all be even. After pressing, fold the whole thing in half and sew all the way down. Leave a gap in the middle so we can turn it all back out. Best thing for turning out a nice long belt like this is a big ruler. A meter rule is good. If you don't have a meter rule, any rule will do. A belt, and we have our loops. And now we need to put the loops on the dress. So this is the dress as it is now, and we've got our little marks here down at the 4 inch and 8 inch or 10 centimeter and 20 centimeter marks. And your belt loops sit from the 20 centimeter or 8 inch mark, 10 centimeter or 4 inch mark. Now you've pinned your belt loops. Let's sew the dress. We're going to sew from the hem up to this corner, turn, and then follow along to the bottom of the sleeve. And we're almost done. before you finish the raw edge of this side and sleeve seam, we've got a technical kimono sleeve at a right angle. So what we need to do is put in, can you see them? What are called stabilizing stitches. They're about a ½ inch, so as wide as my finger, 1 centimeter, just in this corner. It's just a second row of stitching on top and or right next to the other side. That is used, so then because this is at a right corner, we clip in to the stitching, like so, just to the stitching. You don't want to clip the stitching. What this does is releases the seam and lets it sit without the bulk in that corner. And it can then, that's only because it's at a right angle. So it just lets it do this. And now you can finish, so you can serge, overcast, do whatever you want, bind your seams to finish them. But this will just let them sit a bit easier. And we'll press this really well. And we'll get right in and press like this. So you're pressing it so it's nice and open and sits well. This fabric is going to take this very well because it's cotton plisse. It's very malleable, it's very movable. But if you have anything stiffer than this as well, you really do need, 1, that stabilizing corner, and then 2, the little clip, just before you finish the raw edges. And that will help this garment sit much better under the arm and not let it pull up into the shoulder. So I'm going to go and press this really well, finish the seams, and then all we've got to do is hem and cuff and neckline. So you're not doing seams now, you're just doing closing the raw edges. The neckline, we're just double turning this with a really nice little turn, 1/4 inch, 5 mil, sew that down and then turn it again and sew it again. If you need to, you might want to clip into the corners here just by like 1 millimeter, so less than like a 1/16 of an inch. You just want to clip so when you're sewing you can come round, but honestly you don't need to. It will get narrow there, but that helps as we turn on the second time. So turn this back by 1/4 inch, sew, and then turn it back again and sew, and then we've got a beautiful little neckline. Little tip I have, this neckline is symmetrical. So start and finish both passes with the machine at the same point. That way you'll have some back stitching, and that will tell you which is the back and which is the front of your garment. And now we hem. Ooh, that was fast. There it is. Doesn't she look fantastic? This was made with 2 meters of fabric, so you can see it's made a little bit shorter. Perfect for a mini dress, also as a top. So it's absolutely fantastic in either way, and it looks amazing. Look at these enormous sleeves and the kind of drape that you get, especially with this cotton plisse that still springs like this. Look at that. But it will always come back. Absolutely amazing. This is a great little top, and that took less than 30 minutes to make, let's be honest. It really was quick. You're just up and across really, and then you're closing some openings. That's about it. Fantastic. It looks great in the red, doesn't it? It really does. And with that almost ancient looking fabric, because of this cotton plisse, really has a Grecian vibe to it as well. Really easy little dress. You can make it. The pattern is in the description below. You can have this ready in minutes and be out the door. Imagine this with a beautiful pair of jeans underneath it. It would look fantastic. So have a look for this. Another one that's similar is cheesecloth. It's made a bit differently, or double cheesecloth. So 2 fabrics, they're sort of pinned together or stab stitched together to make it. It makes something quite cool, really tunicky, and has that great Grecian island holiday look to it. So I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you make one yourself. Tell me what you've made yours out of. I want to hear about the different fabrics you're using to make these garments, because there's always different ideas whirling around. People will use stuff that none of us will ever think of, and then we've all got that in our back pocket that we can use next time we want to make something fantastic in just minutes. I'm Kimono Alex. This is House of Kimono. Follow me for everything about kimono.